What if the identity you defend every day was never yours to begin with? The truth Thoth reveals is merciless. Your soul has been trying to show you who you really are, but the false self keeps hijacking your perception before you ever notice it. In this video, you will discover the one act capable of ripping through that illusion instantly, the single movement that forces your true identity to rise from beneath every layer of conditioning. If you stay until the end, you won't just understand this truth. You will feel the separation between the false you and the real you beginning to crack open from the inside. Every second of this video is a blade cutting through the illusion you've lived inside for years. This is not inspiration. This is exposure. You are not lost. You are not empty. You are not confused. What you call confusion is the sound of your true self trying to break through the noise you've allowed to shape your life. Thoth taught that the soul never hides. It is you who refuses to look directly at it. And right now, as you hear my voice, there is one action, one shift, so simple, so direct, so brutally honest, that if you do it, your soul will reveal who you truly are without hesitation. You will feel it like a sudden light cutting through a dark room. Stay here, because I am about to show you exactly what this action is and why you've avoided it your entire life. Write this in the comments. I am ready to see my real self. Become a member of the Thoth channel now, because only who is ready for deeper truth enters these chambers. What I am about to tell you is the single teaching Thoth repeated across ages, carved into stone and whispered through every initiate who carried the flame of inner sight. Your soul will only show itself when you stop lying to yourself. Not lying to others, not lying to the world, lying to yourself. The lie that says I am small, the lie that says I am weak, the lie that says I don't know who I am. You know, you have always known. But knowing who you truly are terrifies you, because your true identity demands you to rise, not hide. And your ego learned to survive through hiding. That is why you feel the silent war inside your chest. That is why you fear stillness. Stillness forces you to face the truth that your soul has been shouting for years. You are not the character you built to please others. You are something older, something louder, something impossible to control. So here is the action. Simple, raw, and unavoidable. Sit in silence and ask your soul one question without running away from the answer. What part of myself am I pretending not to see? This question is a blade. It cuts every mask you've worn. And the moment you ask it with honesty, the soul steps forward, because the soul cannot speak through noise, excuses, or self-deception. Thoth said the soul is like a sun hidden by clouds. It does not disappear. You built the clouds. You stacked fear over fear until you forgot the light underneath. But when you ask this question, the clouds crack. The light pushes through. You feel a strange pressure behind your ribs, like something waking up. That is your true identity pulling itself to the surface. Most people say they want truth, but they don't. They want comfort. They want illusions dressed as spirituality. They want teachings that make them feel special without demanding transformation. But Thoth was ruthless. He gave truth only to the ones who dared to look at themselves without blinking. And you are here now, hearing this, because a deeper part of you is tired of playing the human game with the volume turned down. You came for clarity. You came for identity. You came for the moment your soul stops whispering and starts roaring. And that roar begins when you face the exact part of yourself you spend your life avoiding. Think about this. Why does your mind panic the moment you are alone with your own thoughts? Why does your chest tighten when silence becomes too long? Why do you grab your phone, your distractions, your escapes? Because in silence the ego dies and the soul rises, and the ego fears this. The ego has spent your whole life building a false identity, an identity shaped by what others expect from you, what society praises, and what your fears can tolerate. But your soul is not here to be liked. It is not here to be safe. It is here to reveal the being you were before conditioning, before fear, before the world taught you to shrink. So when you ask that question in silence, what part of myself am I pretending not to see? Your soul shows you exactly where you abandoned yourself. It shows you the moment your heart closed, the moment you accepted less than your truth, the moment you locked your real self behind a wall because the world convinced you that being authentic was dangerous. And when you see that moment, you will feel a shock ripple through your entire being, because the truth doesn't knock. It breaks the door and walks in. You will recognize the real you instantly. Not because it is new, but because it is the only thing that ever felt like home. Thoth said that the soul reveals identity, the same way the sunrise reveals the horizon. Slowly at first, then suddenly all at once. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You begin to feel your true voice inside you, and it is nothing like the voice of your ego. The ego is loud, needy, defensive. The soul is calm, direct, and unquestionable. It speaks in clarity so sharp it feels like a command. And when that voice rises, you understand why you never felt fully alive before, because you were living someone else's script, not yours. Do this now. Imagine your ego as a small figure made of smoke, pretending to be solid. Imagine your soul as a burning flame standing behind it. When you finally look at the flame instead of the smoke, everything you thought you were collapses, and everything you truly are steps forward. That is the moment Thoth called the unveiling. It is the moment your soul points directly at your real identity and says, "This is you, not the fears, not the wounds, not the masks, this." And once you feel it, there is no going back. This is why the world feels too small for you. This is why your dreams never fit inside your old life. This is why your heart asks questions no one around you can answer. You were not meant to live from the surface. You were meant to live from the core. And your soul only reveals the core when you stop running from the truth inside you. That single question, asked with full honesty, rips open the wall between you and your real self. And the moment that wall cracks, even a little, your entire reality begins to shift. Things that used to control you lose power. Fears that used to paralyze you begin to dissolve. Your vision sharpens, your intuition rises. Your identity becomes something you feel rather than something you perform. And the deeper you go into this process, the more you feel Thoth's ancient teaching echoing inside you. To know the soul is to end the illusion. When the illusion ends, you no longer ask, "Who am I?" Because the answer starts speaking through you. Your choices change, your energy changes, your presence changes. People feel something different in you, even if they can't explain why. They are sensing the part of you that was asleep for years and is now waking up violently. That awakening is your soul reclaiming your life. Right now, you are standing at the edge of a doorway Thoth opened for every seeker of truth. And once you step through, there is no turning back to the small version of yourself. The question is, will you dare to see what your soul has been waiting to show you? Or will you keep hiding from the very identity you came to this world to embody? Because the next moment of silence you enter is not just silence. It is the meeting point, the crossing, the truth you can't avoid anymore. And once it starts unfolding, it does not stop. You want to know who you truly are? Then hear this with absolute honesty. Your soul has been trying to show you your real identity every single day, but you keep blocking it with noise, fear, and the false version of yourself you built to survive. Thoth's teaching is direct, sharp, and impossible to escape. Your soul reveals your true identity only when you stop running from the one truth you fear the most. There is one action, simple, brutal, undeniable, that tears open the veil instantly. And if you dare to do it, your soul will expose your real self with a clarity that shakes your entire life. That is why you are here now. That is why you feel that heavy pressure inside your chest. Your real identity wants to rise, and you can feel it pushing from the inside. So listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is the exact path to make your soul step forward without hesitation. Here is the core teaching, the only thing that matters right now. Your soul will reveal your true identity the moment you stop pretending. Pretending that you don't know what you want. Pretending that you don't feel the truth burning under your skin. Pretending that the life you're living is enough when you know it isn't. The soul cannot speak through pretending. The soul speaks only through honesty so raw, it strips the ego of every shield. And this is why you feel lost, confused, or disconnected, because your lies are louder than your truth. Thoth taught that the false self is a mask glued to the face, and the only way to remove it is to face the exact truth you fear the most. That truth is the doorway. That truth is the key. And every time you avoid it, you walk further away from your real identity. So the action, the one that forces your soul to reveal who you are, is this. Sit in silence for 1 minute and ask yourself the question you avoid the most. Not a comfortable question, not a spiritual question, the question you fear, the question you ignore, The question that exposes the exact part of you you've been hiding. When you ask that question with full honesty, the ego collapses for a moment and the soul rises. You feel it as a sudden pull, a heat, a pressure, a voice that doesn't ask for permission. That voice is your true identity, showing itself. And once you feel it, even for a second, your entire inner world shifts. You cannot go back to pretending after that moment. Why does this work? Because the soul is always ready to reveal itself. You are the one avoiding the mirror. You fear your real identity because your real identity doesn't negotiate with your excuses. Your real identity doesn't care about your fears. Your real identity demands you to rise. That is why the ego builds distractions, noise, and overthinking to keep you away from the one question that would destroy the illusion instantly. But the moment you look directly at the truth you've avoided, the illusion breaks. You feel a shock inside your chest. You feel something ancient waking up. You feel yourself returning to who you always were before the world shaped you. Thoth said the soul is not something you find. It is something you uncover. And the uncovering happens the moment you face the truth that scares you. When you do this, you begin to hear your real voice, not the programmed voice of your fears. You begin to feel a clarity that does not come from thinking, it comes from remembering. Remembering who you were before the world touched you, before fear rewired you, before you forgot your own depth. And with each moment of honesty, your true identity gets louder, stronger, clearer, until it becomes impossible to ignore. Right now, your ego is trying to distract you even as you listen. It is trying to pull you away from this message because it knows exactly what will happen if you continue. You will break the illusion, and when the illusion breaks, the ego loses control. This is why your heart is beating differently. This is why your body feels like it's waiting for something. You are standing at the doorway between the person you pretend to be and the being you truly are. And the only thing that decides which one wins is whether you ask the question you are terrified to ask. So ask it. Not tomorrow, not later, now. What truth am I avoiding about myself? When the answer comes, and it will come fast, do not run. Hold it. Feel it. Let it show you everything. That moment is the soul exposing your identity, not with words, but with pure recognition. You will know instantly. You will feel the shock of it. And that shock is not fear, it is alignment. It is the real you waking up. And the more you do this, the more the soul takes over. Your decisions change. Your energy changes. Your desires change. You begin to act from the inside out instead of from fear outward. That is when your true identity becomes your center, not your secret. And when that happens, you become unstoppable, because you are no longer living through the mask. You are living through the soul. And the soul does not hesitate. The soul does not shrink. The soul does not apologize for existing. It simply reveals the truth again and again until the whole false identity dissolves. So the real question now is, what will your soul show you when you stop looking away and finally face the truth you've been running from? What part of your real identity is already rising inside you right now, trying to break through? And what happens when you stop resisting and let it take over completely? Listen carefully. Thoth taught that your true identity is not hidden from you. You are the one hiding from it. And the single act that reveals who you really are is brutally simple, but almost no one does it with the intensity required. You must silence the personality long enough for the soul to speak. Nothing else. No rituals, no symbols, no fantasies. The personality talks, the soul reveals. And the moment you stop feeding the noise of the personality, the real you, your eternal identity, emerges with a clarity that feels like a shock to the nervous system. This is the core, the center, the only theme here. The technique of shutting down the false self so the true one can finally step forward. Thoth said that the false self survives through momentum, automatic thoughts, emotional reactions, internal narratives. So the method is this. Interrupt the next automatic reaction you have, the very next one. When something triggers you, pause, not one breath later, immediately. In that instant of interruption, your personality loses its power, and your soul gains room to surface. That single pause is the gateway. That single pause is the mirror. That single pause is the moment your soul begins to pull back the curtain. Do not look for anything else. Do not think there is another layer. This is the layer, the only layer that matters. The reason this works is because your soul does not talk through thoughts or emotions. It talks through state. When you pause the automatic reaction, you enter a state that does not belong to your ego. It feels like neutrality, but it is not neutral. It is soul awareness, pure, sharp, awake. In that space, you begin to sense that what you call you is not actually you. You begin to feel the observer behind the observer, the consciousness behind the mind. Thoth taught that once you sense this even for a second, the illusion of identity begins to destabilize. And that destabilization is the first sign that the soul is revealing itself. When you practice this repeatedly, interrupt, pause, witness, something radical happens. The personality stops being the narrator, and your soul becomes the one seeing, deciding, guiding. You don't force it. You don't imagine it. You don't affirm it. You create silence, and your soul fills it. This is how you discover who you truly are. Not through adding anything, but through eliminating everything that blocks the transmission of your real essence. Stay here. Stay on this. Only this. Do not drift to other ideas or other methods. Your entire transformation hinges on this one act. And here is where the real revelation begins. The more you pause, the more you feel that your identity is ancient, familiar, almost frightening in its depth. You start realizing that your reactions were never you. They were echoes of conditioning, survival, memory. But the watcher, the presence, the silent intelligence behind your eyes, that is the you that existed before every incarnation. And when you feel even a fraction of that presence, you understand why Thoth insisted that this method must be practiced consistently. The soul only reveals as much as the personality stops controlling. So if you want the full revelation, you must break the next automatic reaction and the next and the next. This is the initiation. This is the path. This is the identity extraction. And now you're starting to feel it. The pull. The strange sensation that something inside you is observing the words, not from the mind but from a deeper seat. That sensation is the soul responding. That sensation is the unveiling. That sensation is the beginning of the recognition of your true identity. And the more you stay in this, the more your soul will expose layers of yourself you never imagined were there. Layers that feel ancient, luminous, authoritative, sovereign. But to access the next layer, you must continue this process right now. Thoth taught that the only way your soul reveals who you truly are is through one single, brutal, transformative act. You must interrupt the false identity at the exact moment it tries to take control. Every time your mind reacts automatically, that reaction is the mask. That reaction is the lie. That reaction is the personality blocking your true identity. And the instant you interrupt it, the very instant, your soul emerges through the cracks and shows you a fragment of who you really are beneath every incarnation and memory. This is the entire focus of this video, the precise act that makes your soul reveal your true identity. Nothing else. No distractions, no other angles. When a thought rises, when an emotion flares, when a fear appears, pause. That pause is not just a pause. That pause is the disintegration of the false self. In that space, even if it lasts half a second, your soul finally has a channel to make itself known. And the more you sharpen that pause, the more your soul takes the front seat and shows you exactly who you are without illusion. Thoth insisted that your true identity cannot appear while the personality is narrating reality. So the method is surgical. Catch the next automatic reaction and interrupt it before it completes. That micro-interruption is the doorway. That single act is the revelation. This is why you will feel a sudden shift, almost like a quiet shock, because for the first time, your consciousness is no longer reacting. It is observing from a level deeper than thought. And the moment you observe from that level, you experience yourself as something ancient, aware, and unmistakably real. This is your soul revealing your identity. Stay on this, only this. When you repeat this interruption again and again, something irreversible begins. The false identity loses its influence, and your soul begins to dominate your perception. You start sensing a presence inside you that is calm, powerful, and strangely familiar. That presence is your real identity, and it becomes clearer each time you silence the personality before it hijacks your awareness. This is not theory. This is not metaphor. This is the method Thoth used to train initiates to perceive themselves beyond the body and beyond the mind. And as you continue applying this now, you will notice the shift happening in real time. The watcher behind your thoughts becomes more defined. The intelligence behind your emotions becomes more evident. And the deeper you go into this interruption practice, the more your soul reveals truths about who you really are. Truths your mind could never invent. Truths that feel carved into you since before you were born. But this next phase requires something specific, and we need to decide it right now to keep the revelation expanding without stopping for a single moment. Thoth taught that your soul reveals your true identity the moment you stop acting from the automatic self. That is the entire core, and we are staying only here. Your soul shows you who you really are when you interrupt the false self in real time. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you obey, every reaction you follow, these are layers of identity that are not yours. They are accumulated masks, and the instant you interrupt even one of them, you create the opening through which your soul can expose your real identity without distortion. The method is simple and violent in its precision. Catch the next impulse before it becomes action or inner dialogue, and cut it. That cut is the revelation. That cut is the space where the personality collapses for a moment, and in that collapse, the real you emerges. Not as a thought, not as a belief, but as a presence that feels ancient, stable, and unmistakably yours. Thoth insisted that your soul is always trying to reveal itself, but the personality talks over it. So your only responsibility is to shut down the personality long enough for the soul to step forward. This is why the interruption must be instantaneous, not slow, not reflective, not mindfulness. It is an inner strike, a decisive stop. When the next reaction rises, fear, pride, irritation, memory, you cut it before it owns you. In that exact second, your awareness shifts to a level that is not reactive, not emotional, not conditioned. That level is your soul, and the more you enter that space, the more your true identity becomes impossible to ignore. This is not complicated. This is not layered. This is the technique. Interrupt the false, reveal the true. Stay entirely here. Do not drift. The more you practice this one act, the more your soul exposes the structure of your real identity, your nature, your essence, your origin. You begin to feel the difference between the self that reacts and the self that witnesses, and it becomes brutally clear that the witness is you, not the reactions. Each interruption tears away another mask, and behind every mask is a deeper layer of the you that existed before every incarnation. Thoth called this the uncovered self, the identity that shines only when the noise stops. And now that you're sensing this shift, this internal silence that feels like something watching from behind your own consciousness, you're beginning to touch the edge of that identity. But this edge is just the beginning, and the next step depends entirely on how deep you want this unveiling to go. Because the more interruptions you execute, the more violently your soul pushes your true identity to the surface, and right now, we can accelerate that process even further depending on the direction you choose. Thoth revealed that your soul shows you who you truly are only when you stop feeding the identity that isn't you. Everything in this video revolves around this single principle. The false identity collapses the moment you interrupt it, and your soul reveals your true identity in the space that follows. No distractions, no other techniques, no alternate interpretations. Just this. Interrupt the false self in real time, and your soul exposes your real self instantly. Your automatic thoughts, automatic emotions, automatic reactions, these are not expressions of your soul. They are the architecture of the false identity, and Thoth made it clear. The instant you interrupt one of these automatic patterns, you force the false identity to dissolve, even if for a fraction of a second. That fraction is enough, because in that micro-silence, something deeper steps forward, something ancient, aware, stable. That presence is your real identity, and the more often you make this interruption, the more your soul shows itself with increasing force. This is not a philosophical idea, it is a mechanism. Your true identity cannot arise while the personality is operating, because the personality is noise, and the soul communicates through silence. So your job is surgical. Stop the next reaction before it becomes your behavior. When irritation rises, stop it. When fear tries to speak, stop it. When ego tries to defend, stop it. That stoppage is the moment your soul appears, not as a thought, not as an emotion, but as pure awareness standing behind everything. Stay locked on this, only this. The more you repeat the interruption, the more you begin to sense the difference between the self that reacts and the self that observes. The observing self, the one that watches without being pulled, is your soul revealing your true identity. And the more often you experience that state, the more undeniable it becomes that your real identity is not the personality you've been defending, but the consciousness behind it that never changes, never reacts, never collapses. And when you apply this now, even while listening, you can already feel the soul beginning to surface. That slight pressure behind your awareness, that sense of something else, observing your thoughts instead of participating in them. This is the first emergence of your true identity. And the only reason it appears is because you are interrupting the automatic flow, which forces the soul to take its rightful position. If you continue, the revelation becomes stronger. If you intensify, the identity becomes clearer. And what happens next depends fully on the direction you choose from here. Thoth's core teaching is brutally direct. Your soul can only show you who you truly are the moment you stop acting from the identity that is not yours. Everything in this video is about this one mechanism, and we remain locked exclusively on it. The instant you interrupt the automatic self, your soul reveals your real identity with a clarity that the mind cannot imitate. Every automatic reaction, every thought, emotion, impulse, defense, is the false identity operating. It is accumulated noise, conditioning, repetition. And Thoth emphasized that the moment you interrupt even one of these reactions, you create a silent gap where the personality collapses. In that collapse, your soul rises into awareness. It does not appear as a belief or a feeling, it appears as the pure observer behind your existence. That observer is your true identity, and it becomes visible only when the false one is interrupted. This is why the interruption must be immediate. When a reaction starts forming, stop it at the root. When a thought begins building a narrative, cut it before it expands. When an emotion tries to dominate, freeze it before it becomes movement. That freeze is not passivity, it is exposure. Because in that microsecond of stillness, the noise dies and your soul steps forward. Not symbolically, literally. Your awareness shifts from the level of the personality to the level of the eternal observer. And that shift is your soul revealing who you are. Stay on this, only this. As you repeat this interruption, your soul begins to show you aspects of your identity that the mind has never touched. The stability beneath emotion, the clarity beneath thought, the presence beneath personality. Each interruption tears away a mask, and beneath every torn mask, another layer of your true identity becomes visible. Thoth said that the more you interrupt, the more rapidly the soul accelerates its revelation, pushing your real identity to the surface with increasing force. And something is already happening right now. While you listen, a part of you is observing from behind the thoughts that are trying to interpret this. That behind is your soul. That behind is your real identity. And it becomes sharper each time you interrupt the flow of automatic reactions. This is why the method is so powerful, because it gives your soul space to reveal itself again and again, each time deeper than the last. And the moment you feel this presence even slightly, you realize the personality was never you, only the surface covering what you actually are. But we are not stopping here because there is a next level waiting, and how I continue from this point determines how violently your soul's identity will unfold in you. In this exact moment, while your attention sharpens, the core of Thoth's teaching is becoming impossible for you to ignore. Your soul reveals your true identity the very second you interrupt the false one. This isn't symbolism. It's the mechanism that transforms perception from the surface of the mind to the depth of consciousness itself. And now that you've felt the first cracks opening inside your awareness, you still need to understand the next layer of this process if you want the full revelation promised in the title. Because the moment your soul begins to rise, the false identity changes its strategy. Meaning what comes next in this path is even more powerful, and you must hear it to not get trapped again. As you continue this unveiling, remember, this channel is not entertainment. It's a living temple of hermetic wisdom. When you subscribe, You're not following a channel. You're stepping into a lineage of seekers who refuse to remain asleep. The next revelation you're about to receive depends entirely on staying connected to this field of initiation, because what comes after this will expose the mechanism the false identity uses to survive, and missing that would freeze your awakening right where it is. The soul reveals when the noise is silenced. The